My sheet says I have.
Okay, I'm going to call the meeting to order at 6 o'clock.
Allegiance to the flag.
Okay, looking at agenda review, is there anything that anybody needs to add to our agenda? So we are here for a deliberative session. And we can move into deliberative session. I need a motion to do that. Just a recess. All right, I need a motion to recess the meeting to move into deliberative session.
So moved.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Do you have to do it by roll call?
Okay. Hi, I'm Valerie Burke. I'm the school district moderator. This is my first meeting, so please be patient with me. And thank you for holding me to this office. So we're here to deliberate about Article 1, which I'm going to read in full. So it's to see if the Middleton School District will vote to approve the cost items included in the collective bargaining agreement reached between the Middleton School Board and the Middleton Education Association, which calls for the following increases in salaries and benefits at the current staffing levels. Fiscal year 2026, estimated increase of $66,705. Fiscal year 2027, estimated increase of $50,576. Fiscal year 2028, $60,104. And further to raise and appropriate sum of $66,705 for the 2025-26 fiscal year, such sum representing the additional cost attributable to the increase in salaries and benefits required by the new agreement over those that would be paid at current staffing levels. The estimated tax impact on $66,705 is an increase of 18 cents per $1,000. The school board recommends this article 5 to 0. The budget committee recommends this article 4 to 2-0. Anyone have, in addition to deliberating this vote, we need to just go over a couple of rules of procedure. The rules are you can speak, there's no amendments to this article. It goes through as written, or it goes back to the bargaining table for next year. The Robert's Rules of Order limit any questions to 10 minutes. 2 questions per person on this item because we only have one on the table. And if anyone who wants to speak, please just introduce yourself because I don't know anyone's names.
Make a motion to accept Article 1, correct?
Second that. Roxanne, excuse me, I'm sure I'll quit. I said my representative.
And it's Nicole taking the meeting minutes of the workshop.
That'd be nice. Well, that was really well. It's like people.
Roxanne.
So my understanding is this isn't passed tonight, correct?
It will go to the vote on June
Then
20th,
it's back up.
and then we would vote after.
Right, if I got voted down, then I
Yeah.
have to go back.
We're deliberating.
Okay. All right. No, if it gets voted down.
My name is John again. I have a question. Since we have less than a month to vote, how is the district convince the voters to approve this? What's the argument for this?
Question about me. How are we going to convince the voters?
So you need to-
Oh, so Rebecca. Okay. Hi.
So our plan is word of mouth is what we've kind of been doing to share the importance of why this deliberative session has brought forth this new bargaining tool that we've gone back with the teachers. I was not part of that committee. I mean, I think we don't have a ton of ability to get out there other than word of mouth and then in town. There have been talk about a mailing, but I don't know if that was, I don't remember who was doing that, whether that was the teachers association or it was us. That's what that is.
Does that answer your question?
Well, as it didn't work last time, and since the vote is occurring after school is closed and people are on vacation, there's only a few people here, I'm just curious. I'm wondering how you get a success of this. One, there's a lot of hard work here, a lot of hard work behind us, and, you know, voters have their say, but, you know, I mean, it's not really a good plan. You're targeting word of mouth, targeting kids at the school, parents at school. They might be for it, they may be against it, but what about the vast amount of the community who does not walk through these doors? They have their own lives, they're busy, they don't always go to the meetings, and occasionally hear something randomly. But, you know, I'm just not confident to be able to get the word out to the mass voters who want. Since you get another month before people walk through the doors, glance at a piece of paper that says it's too much money, without any argument why this is a big deal. So I'm just curious to know. I mean, the backup plan is waiting till next year. I'm hopeful, but it's not a plan.
Roxanne?
So just looking at the difference, I see most of the money is cut from the fiscal year 2026. And someone explained how we came up, how those numbers came to be cut from 2026 and 2027, 2028 basically remain the same. Just curious.
Kathy, would you be best to answer that?
I defer to the board
Yeah.
unless they want me to speak, so.
Yeah, so we, Kelly and I worked with the association, to, we basically put it into the hands of the association. We had shared before what the board was comfortable with, the town was not comfortable with that, so they went back to the drawing board and decided to reduce where they felt it was best to be reduced. The biggest one from 2026 is because of that piece of the professional development. So the biggest chunk of the professional development is taken from that first year, and that's why the biggest drop is for 2026.
I'm John, and I don't feel that this is their roads, if they're not metropolitan now. I was using that, and I posted it all on the town website and on Facebook, because I asked the whole budget meeting, if we had it put out there. There's a lot of people in town that don't kids in the school that don't know anything about it.
Yes, I'm sorry, I don't remember.
That's okay. I'm Fran Jeffrey. I'm the third grade teacher. I just want to speak on to Roxanne's question. The reason we cut the most from the first year budget is also because our salaries build on themselves. So it had the most saving impact for us to cut that first year, because then it doesn't build as much on a higher salary on that first year, and then it made the most savings.
Kate Bizarre, so legally, how do you have to post this?
Same as how we go.
So it's posted on the Old Town Hall,
It's posted on the Old Town Hall, it's posted on the school.
on the schools physically,
Yes.
and then you're not counting on the town calendar then, because that says the 28th.
I haven't seen the town calendar.
That's fine, I'm just trying to
Yep.
ascertain that the posting of this on the town calendar, being on the 28th, is not one of the legal postings.
But we can rectify that on the town calendar, and as far as the other legal posting, we do have it.
It's also published in the paper.
Okay, so you've got your legal postings and the town calendar, even though it's incorrect, is not done.
That would not,
Right,
that would
thank
not be statutorily considered one of the
Okay.
legal postings.
It's confusing, but this is a legally posted meeting then.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Crystal Boyer. Just, I was thinking of ways to get the word out, and are you gonna do, meet the principal night or day? Yeah? Cause that's something that usually brings in people, you could probably, like, be able to get a good chunk of audience there. What? Oh. She's behind us.
You're the principal? Next year.
Are there any other questions?
So the amount that's represented in here is 66,705, that's all monetary increases in salaries. What does it represent?
No, and professional development, that's a benefits, professional development, and salaries.
We use in professional development.
So how much of the 66,705 is professional development?
$10,000.
So originally it had 20,000, can we cut it 10?
No.
Initially it was 15.
Because the original number was 76,154, now it's 66,705. So what was cut was just not professional, was not all professional.
Correct, great.
Okay.
John, I mean, how much of a profit raise is this first year account for, now that everyone's been their rate? Average?
You know,
On that document that they provided, it was whatever it was flat across.
Each cell is increased by $1,800.
Thank you.
yes.
So the increase by $1,800,
So they are in step, so the salary schedule was increased every cell, was increased by $1,800 for the first year, and then with the wage words, they increase in year of experience.
without knowing salary, you don't know how much a jump is. Is that a fair jump? Will that keep our teachers here? Is that a fair jump of people who aren't here, and then trying to get a percentage, average?
Well, I think the good thing about this was the teachers got to advocate for themselves, so I think they got a voice on there. So I think that, there's never a guarantee, of course, in anyone staying, but I think giving the teachers the voice to negotiate with us gives them a little bit more ownership in where they're at.
Right, but every time you count, it's like a 2% or 5%, it's people that think it's too high or too low. So I'm trying to find out.
Yeah.
Everyone's worried about money, so if you say it's $1,800, that's great, but I don't think anyone's making $22,000. Try to find out this information.
Was there a specific
So on 69,
percentage? Sorry, so it was a 7.
Are we all set on that question? And it's also increase guarantee.
Yeah,
Which doesn't give you a dollar amount for every.
that's the dollar amount. They gave a dollar amount. People like to know the easy number. These are all good information. But for the handful of people that are here, 50 people the last open session, 200 people voting, so that maybe 75 people understood what they were voting on. You know, we can't, no newspaper that covers the town in depth anymore, or region at all. So we're relying on word of mouth and cross things. So the more information, pass it on.
I'm Carrie Sardo, and the surgery research, and was also part of the negotiation team. So typically, we have all, so the different cells based on your step and your track, it was 3% would be added around that, I think. And in an effort to, yes, and in an effort to be more financially feasible and keep it within the budget constraints that we talked with the board. For the first year, we just did $1,800 provided a big savings because for some people it increased, and then some people it would be about 3%. For some people it would not be.
0.01.
Correct, so that we can't give a correct percent on what it was, because we just decided it was going to be the same across
Because
everybody. Sorry.
I get frantic, but if you make more, a 3% raise is obviously
Correct.
going to be more, so instead of giving a percent, we gave a flat rate. So normally we used to receive a 3% raise except for COVID, and that if we had done it, would have cost the district $106,450, and instead we gave a flat rate which costs $56,705, and then you add the professional development in it. So we cut that by half in order to come to a compromise, because also the board worked with us and gave us things in other ways of working conditions that we felt appreciated in, and it's a give and take.
And then we kept that flat rate model for the following 2 years. So it wasn't going to be huge differences because percent, like Brandon said, changed drastically the higher you got on the scale. We just did a flat rate for everybody across the 3 years. So it was a solid number that people knew.
Yes, I.
Just for the percentages, it ranges anywhere from 2.3 to 9%, depending on where on the spectrum you are.
Right.
So it is a wide range because depending on what that 1,800 looks like depends on how much you're being paid. So that's the range. You average it out, and it ends up being 9% across the board. You can average it being about the percentage of what you're being averaged.
Yes, Marcy.
So this is in addition to a COLA, you know?
No.
This is the only.
Yes.
The whole board is together. Nina said that.
Yes.
Okay.
What was the increase to the budget that was built in this year? How much did it increase that?
You're talking for overall or for
Yeah,
salaries?
overall,
And then we have-
the total number of the budget and the increase.
If you recall at the deliberative session, there was an amendment to the operating budget that put money back in. And at that point, I added the money back in, it was sent to DRA, and it was to the voters to be voted, but I don't know that I have a document that states what that percent increase is, so I'll look. Yeah, we're just. Okay, that's fine. So including, the warrant articles for the capital reserves, which are to be used, unreserved fund balance, but the total approved, budget for next year is $5,712,798.
And do you want to know the difference between previous years?
Yeah, and that was an increase of what?
I don't know, I don't, the documents don't have that point. Get to that point in the process.
And that was with the warrant article.
That's with the 3 warrant articles that are $87,000 for the special ed, for the bus, and for the instruction renovation. $379,812. That includes the warrant articles. So those financials that you see every month, that's just the operating budget. It doesn't include the federal funds, the food service, or the warrant articles.
So that would be an increase of, how many pounds?
332,000 times 186.
It included the 3 warrant articles that we always have, that, yes, they passed.
And then this year, never did. Or did it? Yeah, so yeah.
But we have warrant articles.
No, right, no, right.
That's completely separate. Yep. Yep.
I want to make sure that wasn't complicated.
Yeah. No, because that's the average. And that is.
Are there any other questions?
So for anyone wondering, that's with this article and what we've already voted in, it would be approximately $400,000 increase in this budget.
All right, any other questions?
I wonder what that, papers are, I wonder what that would, I wonder how that would translate to, tax rate, but like, you know. Roxanne, you know?
Well, I know that this warrant article above what was already put forward is 18%.
Pardon me?
18% per 1,000 is what this particular article.
18%?
18 cents.
Okay, thank you.
You want to know what just this article is 18 cents, but the total 400,000 is not 18 cents.
Well, what's the 400,000?
1061.
1061, so it's 1061 plus 18 cents.
Correct.
I can do that. So it's almost 1079. I understand.
Yes.
I'm Allison Hayford. Sorry, just one more note that I hope everyone understands is that if it doesn't pass, that no one gets their step or a cost of living increase at all. So that's something that, you know, we work towards and we feel we've earned. So to hold it, to vote this down also means that we're held where we are. We don't get any sort of raise based on experience or the cost of living.
So then this kind of, and this maybe not kind of ask the question, but I think it's part of the conversation is we see an increase for the budget that we approved already, the 333,000. A bulk of that is coming through on those first two lines, which is your benefits and your salaries. What are those increases? Because I was under the impression that that's somebody's salary's going to increase, or we're hiring somebody or something for that to increase a substantial amount. Because that's where the bulk of the money that's approved on the budget is coming through. If you look at the, you know, the budget.
Is that the approved budget for the whole school?
Yeah.
Yeah, because right now, shouldn't we be focused on what the article is?
I'm not disagreeing, but I guess my point is it's all relative, it's all related, it's all salaries. So,
And
if they choose not to answer, that's fine.
So this only covers the teachers themselves, so all the other staff would not be included. They would have been in the other adjustments.
So this wages line, this doesn't include any of the teachers, so who's else is in the wages line? Paraprofessionals.
So it doesn't include, it doesn't necessarily not, I think there was some,
I think the two of you were talking about two different
Okay.
things. You're talking about the operating budget that there were no changes except for current staffing conditions, right?
Exactly.
But she's asking about health insurance and other.
So she's asking, there were changes from the previous year to this year's budget when they saw the actual salary. She's asking whose salaries were changed.
So we look at the wages line.
Right.
Current is 1,268,000, and then proposed was 1,489,000. So there's that roughly 200,000, 220,000. What is, I guess, what does that include? If it doesn't include the rates for the teachers, what's that? And maybe again, maybe it's not addressing this warrant article, but it's all salary, so I'm just curious as to where that money is being spent.
I will,
Yep.
I will ask the moderators to hold up. Yeah.
The board.
No, you're.
Okay. Then I
I don't want to step out of bounds, so, remember, the default budget this current year was held from last year. So what we proposed next year was putting everyone's raise in there, so it shows like a 2-year gap, literally between what was approved a year ago and what's being recommended for next year. So that's a 2-year gap. We had a slight change in staff, so there will be some ups or downs in that, I don't know specifically. I increased the substitute line by $20,000 because of historical, we've been using over $30,000 to pay substitutes. That's a big amount right there. And the bus drivers who had received an unbudgeted, approved increase, granted, there's only a few of them, but we also had some vacancies, we've increased that obviously to the rate of pay that they're getting and what they should be projected to get for next year. So there's where some of the, I don't know.
I think too, that the paras, right, their raises.
That wasn't a budget, so the parent was brought up, that pay was brought up at the deliberative session, the budget was set, so there was no budgeting that for next year.
Any other questions?
Move to vote.
No? Okay. So now we're putting to a vote. All right, so it's a raise hand vote. And then what is the count, how many people are there? All right.
Point of order? Yes. That this is just an advisory vote, no matter what, that the statute, the warrant article as written will be on the warrant article. If there was no, you can't amend it, so you can vote if you want. It's just going to be advisory, because it'll go on the amendment and on the warrant article.
Even if it's a majority vote.
Correct.
It's a formality.
Any registered voters, if you choose to vote, you put it for the vote on June 25th, which then vote to actual ballot. All those in favor, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's fine.
Don't forget behind you.
Okay, all those against? Okay, so it is past deliberation and we'll go to vote on June 25th. The time.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Meeting adjourned.
That's what I want to hear.
We need to make a time.
It's all fine. I can't just schedule around. So who's going to be the trustee? I will take his. Yeah, I know, I was really brilliant. Is that for
I think so.
That's good you were able to. Yeah, so we just negotiated whatever small entities, making sure it's not the same day, and then we wanted to give at least a day and a half off. So I had to do that. Yeah, because when's officially your last day? Day, the 17th. Oh, nice. Yeah, so, and then staff this year is coming back on the 18th for a full day, but with all of the changes we had, I'm hoping for us to be able to do some kind of close out. It's not look like that's gonna happen, so people just have not what any of us hope for, but it's where we're at. So we can finish grades and we have that sort of thing. Yeah. You guys are here until the 19th.